Tom, so we're at the end of, the back end of the season now, the business end, as they say. Just really want your thoughts on how you reckon the season's gone so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough one to judge, I guess, until we get to the end. I think realistically, we're going to finish in the top three of our division. We got to County Trophy semi-final, County Cup quarter-final, we're in another quarter-final of the Combined Counties Trophy. So I think from that perspective, it's been really successful for a first season. I think no matter what happens now, I think it's been a success from starting with almost nothing, not knowing how things were going to go, where we were, what kind of calibre player we bring in. We've got a mixed range of all sorts of ability and experience. I think you'd have to call it a roaring success. We want to go that extra little bit further. But no matter what happens from here, it won't diminish or add to necessarily the success that we've already had from our first season at the club.
Yeah, I think first season is always sort of an open book. You never know really what you're going to get, and I think there's been some really high moments this year as well, as well as some lows. But that's football in general.
Yeah.
The high moments for myself, I think that first win, as silly as it sounds, that first win away at Worthing, even though it was a cup game, it was the first competitive win as a football club.
Yep.
What about yourself? Where's your sort of high moment so far this year? Obviously, we've still got 3 games to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said at the start of the season that we felt Oakwood were league favourites. I might have maybe revised that to Hailsham. I think they were both in a great spot going into the season. Hailsham with the quality that they've got, Oakwood with the quality they've got, but maybe not the same level, but being together as long as they have. I think beating Oakwood felt like a big deal. I think being the first team to score against Eastbourne Borough, I think that was a big deal. Leonie, Sophie, Jazz's first goal, all of those things, feel really special. And Leonie waited a while, bless her. She's given it everything all year. That was a really special moment. I think off the back of our loss yesterday, it's as silly as it sounds, I don't think I've ever been prouder of a team. I think that's a high. It hurts right now because we lost, and I don't think we deserve to. In terms of how we played, we outshot the opponent by 21 attempts, and most of those 21 were on target, 29-8 on attempts. You can lose games like that sometimes, and that does happen, and you appreciate that that's football. But in terms of what my players gave, 5 and down at half time to almost come back, and I really believe we were going to do it, and see the belief in their eyes that they were going to do it, and make the stand that we did, and say no, we're here, and we refuse to lie down. We lost the game, but I think it's a high point for me, honestly. There are so many. There are so many. But, there's the lows with that as well, as you say. I think losing to Oak with the first game of the season did hurt a lot. I think probably the first half at Ashford, where we've just switched off in the first 20 minutes, your game plan goes out the window because we felt like we'd go there and win. But these are all learning curves, and, we know we're going to have to bolster. We're going to have to sort of do some minor bits with the squad, not major bits. And that's going to be important too, and it's all learning experience, like you say, in his first year.
Yeah, you mentioned the under-18s coming in this year. I think it's underestimated the impact they've made, not just to the team, but actually individuals themselves, and their personalities have shone through massively.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually kind of helped the more senior players. I feel like there's a couple of players who have sort of turned into quite the nurturing type from the senior players, especially to the likes of Leonie and Sophie and etc.
Yeah, and look, we haven't been blessed with loads of older players and natural older leaders. Just the way we've recruited doesn't mean we didn't try, but people have had to step up to that mark. And some of these younger players as well, on the same note, have pushed sort of beyond their years. You see Jazz yesterday. That was a leader's performance. Basically playing out of position, sort of deeper in midfield, winning headers against people literally twice her size. Just absolutely incredible. Like Emma, for me, obviously not scored yet, centre back. I know she was captain for the under-18s, and you can see why. She's got that aura. I'd love to see her put on an armband for a Burgess Hill women's side at some point. I think that would be an incredible thing. I think that's something that is probably, and I hope, in her future. We've got senior players now that won't always be in the game, or maybe will step on and go to a higher level or whatever else, and those younger players will do it as well. They'll have those journeys too. So yeah, people have had to step up for various different reasons, and you know, they've done that, and I couldn't be prouder. As I say, whatever happens from here on out, I'm not gonna be disappointed in my players or anything like that. Or, you know, we should still be so proud of what we've achieved up to this point, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I think we should be proud. I think we need to be proud, and I think regardless of what happens, like you just said, it's been a fantastic first season for Burgess Hill Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the women's, the men's as well. They're doing fantastic. Just
Yeah.
the football club in general.
Yes,
there's a real
Yeah.
high about the football club.
And
at
the
moment.
18s in the youth cup
Of
as well.
course, yeah. Obviously, you know, that in itself is one hell of an achievement.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that does go under the radar a little bit. Sometimes does get forgotten about.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got 3 games left. Well, 4 including the cup game away at Croydon.
Yeah.
It's a tall ask to win all 3, but I don't think anyone at the club doubts we can do that. And realistically, if we win all 3, we do win the league.
We can do it. We can do it. We know sort of the statistics and the history of, you know, the top 2 going up and stuff like that, and that's not a given, but it's very close in terms of if you look at the history and stuff like that. But you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to come up and go down and whatever else. And it is a little bit of a strange environment at Tier 7 where you don't know how things are going to go with promotions and stuff like that. But ultimately, the goal is to win 3 games, as it would be if we were 5th in the table and couldn't move up and couldn't move down. And we focus on our processes. And as you say, the result of that, I believe, if the math is right, was we'll win the league if we win those 3 games. They're going to be in a short space of time. So we've got a little gap now, which is maybe not what we'd like. We'll try and keep ourselves sharp with, you know, some friendlies and some training games and stuff like that. Probably we'll have a cup game in there somewhere as well. But ultimately, you know, our focus is just going to be game by game and win those and just focus on our processes, and we'll see where we come out at the end of it. But, you know, if we do it, if we don't do it, that's not the mark of success. The mark of success is where do we start, where do we finish, and then what's in the future. We know we want to go on and kick on and win trophies. And, you know, there are times we've fallen short this season where you look at it, we didn't want to lose yesterday, we didn't want to lose at the start of the season to Oakwood. If I make better decisions, or if we get 10 minutes, 15 minutes of better performances, or we don't lose focus or whatever, maybe we beat Eastbourne Borough in a cup final. We've lost the semi-final, quarter-final, we're in another quarter-final, we could kick on from there. But, you know, our bar is we want to win trophies, and to do that you have to not focus on game by game, you have to focus on getting it right again and again and again. So it is game by game in terms of that's how you have to plan it, but in terms of what we do, nothing changes. And ultimately, no matter what league we're in next season, we'll continue to do the same thing because we believe in ourselves and we believe that's going to bear fruit.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if we stick to our beliefs and our principles, we will come out on top on most games. I think that's what a lot of people have learnt this year.
Yeah.
Where some things we've players have asked for changes or whatever, and we've gone no, we're sticking to our principles. And long term it has worked.
And this is the thing about yesterday's a really key example of that, because people come away go in. So we've beaten Seagulls twice this year. We've beaten 3-1 in a cup and 6-0 at home in the league. What, a month ago, if that? Yeah. So we lose yesterday 5-3 or 5-0 down at half time. Now you can look at it and you can go, we lost the game with 5-0 down at half time. That's really disappointing. And then you can go, did Seagulls switch off in the second half? Well, no, they actually didn't. We outshot them. We had better chances in the first half than they did. My belief is, if you outshoot a team 29-8, and the vast majority of those are on target, most times you're going to win. If you play that game 10 times, you're going to win the game 8, right? Minimum. So yesterday's frustrating, but because we lost the game yesterday doesn't mean we change anything at all. Absolutely nothing. We just keep refining what we're doing. So can we be a bit more clinical? Can we be a little bit more aggressive around our own box? But nothing changes because of the result. Because actually, if you look at it statistically, we shouldn't have lost that game. Now we did, and that's fine. And credit to Seagulls, they beat us. That happens. But we outshot them 29-8, and most of those were good chances. So, yep, we lost. It's frustrating, but why would we change our processes? Because that's moments of the game that have gone wrong, but it's not the performance that's gone wrong. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing. We'll keep believing in what we're believing. Because I believe if we play like we did yesterday, we'll win the next 3 games. It's just, as chance, we didn't yesterday. But that, for me, personally, and I hope I'm obviously right, is the rare exception, because football works in funny ways sometimes.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it yesterday. I think those halves in football can happen. It happens to the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
Everything you do just goes wrong. And individual moments in games change it. and for example, like start of the second half, Brogan goes 1-1, she scores that. Instead of hits it the keeper, different game.
Yeah,
then it's just an early goal in the second half. We go 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? To be honest with you, yesterday, and I do mean this, like we should have probably made more subs than we did. Now, and I'll hold my hands up to that. Probably about half an hour into the second half, the girls were blowing, and that's fine. But you're sort of looking at it going, well, we've pulled 3 goals back from 5. We only need 2 more, and we know there's going to be a decent amount of stoppage. So why would you change it? Now, on reflection, I'd do that a little bit differently. I'd get another body on. There was someone that didn't play, and I hold my hands up, and that was on me. But equally, if I'd had 3 other players on the bench, you have to deal with what you've got.
Yeah, of course.
And it would be wrong of us to go, we lost, and that's okay, because it's not, and we don't want to lose games of football. We always want to win, but you also have to put it in perspective and go, like you say, these things happen, so we need to be a little bit tighter on the set pieces. We need to be a little bit more aggressive around our own box when it's going wrong. If you can see 3 goals in, I think, 3-4 minutes, that's going to put you on the back foot. Or where's that? That's psychological. So they're psychologically on a high, we're psychologically on a low, and the game changes there. Didn't start badly. Those first 8 minutes, they scored their first chance pretty much. So, yeah, as you say, these games happen, and you can only control your controllables. We maybe need to change 2 or 3 little things that we can control. But what we did, the work we put in was good work. It was high quality work. It's just about making sure that we have that execution in the key moments, and ultimately the game is controlled in the centre of the pitch, but it's decided in both boxes. So we just need to get that one right a little bit more.
No, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more what you just said there. I think it's little things. That's what it is. Just little things make a huge difference. And as silly as it sounds, I couldn't be more proud of the girls yesterday. But going into sort of the mindset of next season, I sat here with you in July. We didn't really have an idea of where we were going, what we were going to do,
what league we'd be in, what division, or
that we had no clue, and now we're 3 games away from the end of the season. We're fighting for promotion, fighting for the league title, in a cup quarter final. We've been in 1 semi-final, 1 other quarter final. It has been a successful year.
Yeah.
And I feel, regardless of what happens here, we should be proud of the players, proud of the support they've been given by the club.
Yeah.
But for sure, I think the support this year has been
incredible,
been fantastic, and
yeah.
I think the girls appreciate that so much. And I think we do as coaches as well.
Yeah.
I think you'd be silly to sit here and go, I know it's just a parent turning up. It's not just a parent; it's a supporter of the football club.
And look, like, we owe it, no matter what happens with the rest of the season, no matter where we finish, what we do, what league we're in next season. The people who have spent their last 7 days and beyond that as well, fighting for us, fighting for the girls, putting the club first, taking time out of their lives, lacking sleep, all this just ridiculous stuff. No matter what, we owe it to go again and again and again and again. No matter what we're doing next season, we go again. And if we're where we want to be, great. If we're not where we want to be, then that's fine. We'll work to get to where we want to be. But we owe it to those people who have given us everything they've given us. So, the people running the club, the board, David and Vicky coming in have been amazing. Tina and Vince giving us this opportunity in the first place. We owe it to all these people, no matter what happens from now, to give it everything we've got until we're spent, until we're done. So we're going to keep fighting this fight, and we're going to keep loving every minute of it.
Tom, it's been a pleasure this season so far. Obviously, like I said, 3 games to go. Hopefully, we'll be sitting here in end of May as league champions. But if not, like you said, we go again.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.